this, isn't it?
7.
So what is it about chocolate? When I first found out that chocolate is the #1 superfood in the world, I got really excited. Basically because I love chocolate. Who doesn't love chocolate? Well, I know a few people who don't love chocolate, but there's something wrong with those people. If you think stuffing a bunch of Snickers bars down your throat is going to make you feel better, it won't, because the sugar in it really kills it. Plus, it's made of cocoa. You start off with beans, the cocoa beans.
And a very happy Christmas.
We'll call them beans, I don't know what they are. And what they do is they dry those, and to make the process faster, they dry them in the oven. Now that kills off a lot of the nutrients, that just destroys all the goodness in it. And that's what ends up with cocoa. Cacao, on the other hand, is where it's been sun-dried, so it's a much slower process. The enzymes and all the nutrients, everything that's good about it is kept in the actual cacao. Once the beans have fermented for a couple of days and then dried, that's when they roast them after that, and that's where cocoa powder comes from. And the majority of the things you can buy in the shops, like this stuff. Cacao, on the other hand, is a great source of nutrients like magnesium and a very bioavailable form of iron, which is great for vegans and vegetarians and anybody who doesn't get enough iron in their diet. I always take a spoonful every morning in my green smoothie. See the last episode for green smoothies? I think it was the last one. 6, I think it was. It's good for the heart, very good for sorting out your cholesterol and getting the good stuff in and the bad stuff out, and it's also meant to be very good for the brain. It's got anti-cancer properties. There's just so much about it that is beneficial for the human body. Well worth delving into, getting the proper stuff. There's no point buying the cheap stuff. You might as well get the proper stuff if you're going to do it. And without further ado, let's go and make some brownies. You can put exotic ingredients in the brownies if you want. There won't be any in this particular recipe. But then exotic ingredients, if you know what I mean, have got their own health properties. Half a block of creamed coconut into a warmish pan, and let that melt a bit. You can add to that a spoonful and a half of coconut oil. It's cold oil, but it's pretty solid. That'll help that all melt a bit on a low heat, so it melts slowly and doesn't stick to the pan and burn. Once that's all melted, it'll look like that. That's what melted stuff looks like. Then we add, let's say, 1, 2, 3, 4, a few drops of stevia liquid. About 10. That gives it the sweetness. 1, 2, 3, about 3 or 4 spoonfuls of maca powder, a spoonful of cinnamon, or thereabouts, half a spoonful of bicarbonate of soda, a cupful of almond flour, then the magic ingredient, cacao. 5 spoonfuls of that. I love it, so I'm having 6. Alright then, 7. And now mix all that together. Mix that all up. It'll take a while. Almost forgot. 1 egg. Separate it, maybe add another egg. Alright, 2 eggs. I'm sort of making it up as I go along. 2 eggs are better than 1. And a little splash of milk. I use goat's milk simply because I'm not sure if I get on with lactose or not, and there's a lot less lactose in goat's milk. Then you can either put it on a baking sheet and chop it into bits, or have it already chopped by sticking it in a bunch of cups like this. Then all you've got to do is put it in the oven or in the fires of hell, depending on your affiliations and who you've got on your side, for about 15 to 20 minutes. Keep your eye on them, make sure they don't burn. I've ended up putting them on a bigger tray. Cacao has been processed less and therefore has more of the ingredients that you want. More of the, has potassium, magnesium, iron, zinc and copper, and the good fats. I'll put that in the oven now for 15 to 20 minutes at about 180, something like that. That was about 17 minutes. Cooking times are approximate, weights are approximate, even the ingredients are approximate, because you can add whatever ingredients you like. You might have something of a plant-based nature that you'd like to add. It's up to you, you know what I mean. And they'll be ready for you to munch anytime. We've been going crazy in the kitchen today. There's just stuff everywhere. And while I was doing that, I thought I'd make something or have a little practice of something, and that is chocolate spread. I've taken about that much of coconut oil, add half as much again of extra virgin olive oil. Then on top of that I've thrown in 2 teaspoons of maca powder, 4 teaspoons of raw organic cacao, 10 drops of stevia, which comes in a little pot like that, and I'm going to think about putting some cream in there. I've found this old pot of cream is about a month out of date, so I'm sure I'll be allowed to use that. And that should make, it should make a nice little pot of chocolate spread. Completely ketogenic, might even be Paleolithic, I don't know. And then I'm going to have to clean the kitchen up a bit because it's getting out of hand. And since cleaning is an exercise, let's talk a little bit about that. As opposed to doing an exercise this month, I want to actually talk about the dangers of doing the wrong sort. It has been found that cardio exercise after the age of 35 is actually bad for the heart. I'm specifically talking about jogging and running up steps like this. No. Oh, no! We think of the heart as a pump, but it is in fact an engine. It uses energy, otherwise known as fuel. The heart will grow according to the amount of fuel it uses. If you want a big heart, you use a lot of fuel in a short amount of time. A smaller engine can go further on less fuel. If someone is running a marathon, the heart will shrink in order to conserve fuel. However, if you do short bursts of high intensity, your heart will grow. So although I advocate yoga as being a really good exercise, I also advocate burst training. If you're going to take this up, start small. Begin with 30 seconds jumping jacks or jogging on the spot, then take 30-second break. Then repeat that sequence 3 times. That should give you about 3 minutes of exercise. Time yourself with a stopwatch. It is best to slowly build up until you're doing about 12 minutes of exercise, including the rest stops in between, with each burst being a minute, and each rest lasting a minute also. You should find your recovery time will increase as you progress. I apologise for the video, but as ever, I didn't really know what I was doing. A little bit of jogging is alright, 5 to 10 minutes or so, something to get your heart rate up. but doing a marathon will just shrink your heart.